Misfits is back on pay-per-view live from Dublin, Ireland. The main event is KSI in a concert, probably going to sing Holiday amongst other things, but the main event fight is the Battle of the Dannies. In one corner, Long Neck King, Danny Aarons. He and I share the same neck trajectory, so that's probably who I'm going to root for. And also, he dates someone named Tennessee. I have dated the state of Tennessee since birth. That is my first lover and only. He's taking on Danny Simpson. Has nothing to do with the show, but apparently his showcase was in the Premier League. He apparently just won, or not just, but apparently won a Premier League championship. Don't know what position he plays, but now he's in the boxing ring. So this is kind of a big deal for Misfits. The first time you're getting an influencer versus a former professional soccer player, the highest order. People were talking about KSI and Wayne Rooney for a bit. This is the closest we'll get to it. Danny squared in the main event. The face-off, it's time for it. The breakdown. Let's go. So yeah, a shiner on Danny's face. Could be a good thing because it shows Danny's taking the fight serious. It shows that he's in there with guys that can hurt him. It shows he's not afraid to take a punch. Could be a bad thing because, well, you're getting touched up a lot in sparring. That's not something you want to see for a guy that doesn't have a ton of experience as it is, but it's, like I said, a double-edged knife, a double-edged sword, a double-edged weapon that you would stab with. So he's getting in there, getting thrown in the fire. Spars for influencers essentially have to be fights so that you can replicate some sort of an amateur career. So Danny, I hope that's a good thing. I don't want to see you keep getting hit. You're my boy. Stay safe, buddy. I don't like this. This bothers me. We're not turning punches over. We're just throwing them out. We're turning the right hand over a little bit, but I don't know what's going on with that left hand. I don't like that. Hopefully this was early on.
How different is it, the training, compared to the Premier League, training as a footballer, and training as a boxer?
I'll say.
What's the weight class for this? Does anybody know? First off, I'm going to say this. This Danny Simpson guy does not look to me like he is understanding as to what he's doing. Is it 165? I don't know if you guys get the same vibe. When I look at Danny Simpson, I look at a guy, he's talking about, oh, it's going to be a bit of fun. I'm going to go in there and have fun. I've seen this time and time again with people that don't understand what boxing is or what a fight is. You're not there. I mean, yeah, you can have fun, but usually the guys that have fun are the guys that understand and have the fundamentals and have been in multiple fights that can they can compartmentalize and actually have fun in the fight. When that fire's going, I don't know how fun it's going to be for a guy that's never done it. I don't like what I'm already seeing from a guy that doesn't seem to understand that this sport is brutal.
I've got mates who have been boxing and stuff, and I don't think I appreciated what they do day to day and how hard it is. I'm not saying anything that's in football, great pre-season's tough, but with this boxing training, as you probably know, it's like pre-season every day for these boys that I've been in with every day.
Okay. Now, obviously, you're a
I can agree with that. Boxing is probably the hardest sport to train and fight, and wrestling is right there with it. But I think that's because most boxing training is just fighting, and it's not like light fighting either. Sparring in boxing is hard. Like boxing, you're getting physically hit in the face every single, or like 3 or 4 times a week hard, while you're trying to remain calm, while your cardio is falling out your ass, while you're trying to remember your technique and your strategy. Like there's light sparring in other martial arts. Boxing's not one of them.
Well, I mean, do you feel like you're going to Spursy this moment?
You know what? I thought about putting the Spurs badge on the shorts, but I didn't want to risk anything. Obviously, we've got a history of bottling things. Yeah. So I'm going to leave that. There.
The inside jokes that are going on right now, I have no idea what they mean. What I'm getting from this is that Danny Aaron's team lost to Danny Simpson actually in the Premier League, and now he's getting revenge for that, but I don't know whose team is what.
Obviously with Spurs chasing us when I was at Leicester, it's the only team I think to finish 3rd in a 2-horse race. So
is that what we're doing?
Yeah,
it's okay.
The only team to finish 3rd in a 2-horse race. Pretty good.
Well, Danny, online a lot of people have been saying that your pad work has been kind of stinky.
Who's saying that, man?
How do you feel about that?
Who's saying that?
Stinky pad work. Interesting. Let's find out what that pad work looks like. I haven't actually seen a lot of Danny Aaron's pad work, but now I gotta know.
When he jumped into the ring for the first time and he got that punch that every fighter gets when they jump in the ring for the first time.
I don't think that Danny's gonna have to pay for a lot of this in his first fight, but this kind of stuff is gonna get him hurt if he keeps boxing. Like pawing at punches with both hands is not a great idea if you want to avoid catching an overhand right across your chin or anything else behind it. This doesn't really show me much just because they're not gonna show much of that, but is there actual pad work? I want to see that. This doesn't look bad at all. Now, again, we've seen him spar, and maybe this doesn't translate as well, but this doesn't look bad. Now, granted, it's a very short stint there, but I don't know who would be calling that stinky.
Obviously, he's been putting it in. I've been putting it in. And yeah,
Do you think you're going to knock him out?
I think he's going to be a knockout. So yeah.
KSI straight to the point with it. He's like, yeah, all this talking, but you can knock him out or not, bro?
I've done everything I can in the time frame I've had. Like he says, with a pad where anyone can do pads. I don't trust some of the stuff that comes out.
I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you mean.
So yeah, I just got to focus on me and what I've learned up to now.
So he is essentially, Simpson says he doesn't trust the stuff that's coming out because he thinks that like Danny Aaron's is sandbagging in his pad work. I don't think that either of those guys are good enough to sandbag their pad work. I think that what you see is what you get at this point. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Do damage?
Yes. I don't think I know.
You know?
I know. 100%.
That's big words.
Everyone I've sparred, everyone, even my coaches hitting the pads, I said, this hurts. I've been sparring people that have had pro fights and they said, look, that's the hardest I've been hit. So I know I've got the power.
And I like the fact that he seems overconfident. I like that because I'm going to be going in just about me, but you seem very, very overconfident there that you know that you've got that much power.
KSI asked the Danny Simpson guy if he thought he could knock out Danny Aaron's, and he said yes. And Danny Aaron's said the same thing to respond, and now he's overconfident. That doesn't make much sense. But the whole knockout power thing to me is silly because I think anybody can get knocked out at any moment, especially in 10-ounce gloves. It's more so just about who is going to be more prepared technically for a boxing match. Who's got better cardio? That's going to be a massive thing. I don't know how long these rounds are, like if they're going 5, 4, whatever. Who's got better cardio for boxing is going to be, I think, the number one thing. And then 2, technique-wise, who has enough to get by? And then number 3, when those two things combine, that is when either on the good side or bad side, someone gets knocked out or someone's doing the knocking out. Because when your cardio fails, your technique goes. And if you don't have a lot of technique to begin with, then it's going to be open season.
I was pretty much in a beef when I got this phone call. Yeah.
Yeah, that's also not a good thing. Because Danny's been training for a while. They're both Danny. But Danny Aaron's been training for a bit. And this is what I'm talking about, man. Like, again, if you don't take this seriously enough to have a full camp, to have, like, actual cardio, get back in real shape. Like, honestly, if I was going to take an influencer boxing fight, I would get in shape for 3 months before I even started trying to think about a camp. If you jump into a boxing camp straight out of Ibiza or on vacation and you're learning to box while you're trying to get in shape, most of the camp is going to be you just trying to get in shape. I don't think it's going to go well, man.
Yeah, this has put me back on the right path, on the right track, getting fit.
Some could say you're already making excuses.
Yeah, they can, but
KSI sticking it on him, damn. 'Cause he kind of is. He's like, well, I didn't have time. Now, there is something to be said, by the way, for natural athletes getting into boxing. I think someone said it in chat earlier. What we aren't taking into account is the potential that, his soccer background and his footwork there could easily translate to boxing. It's tough to say easily because I've seen other athletes transition to boxing and it doesn't go well. And again, soccer players too, you don't use your hands a ton, but foot-eye coordination is more difficult, so maybe he'll take to it better. I don't know.
Like I said, ultimately, the truth is, I had 4 weeks and I've given everything I can, 110%, day in, day out, because as I said,
he said 4 weeks? He's only been training boxing for the last 4 weeks? No, he's dead. No, he's not. No, he's going to lose. Again, I'm sorry. I came into this late. I didn't know that this was kind of put together in the last month. Unless he's just a generational ability to get down the sport in 4 weeks and Danny Aaron's is really, really bad when he gets hit, he will lose this.
But let's say he knocks you out. What happens
that's not going to happen, is it?
Okay.
That's not
Good answer.
happen.
Good answer. Not true, but good answer.
It's not going to happen.
I mean, a knockout would be devastating for your online
Why are you looking at
careers.
me?
Because he knows what's going to happen.
I'm looking at both. It would be devastating for you, devastating for you.
It would be.
I mean, especially
it would be awful for me.
I mean, you live online.
It would be awful for me. This is it. I don't think you want it as much as me. Because the consequences that can happen to me won't happen to you.
I agree with that. KSI instigating, but he's right. He is right. And this is stuff you got to bring up in influencer boxing face-to-face. It's actually one of the biggest things that should be brought up in influencer boxing face-to-faces that I haven't even brought up in some cases. I don't actually know if it's worse for Danny Simpson or Danny Aaron's because this guy's a Premier League champion. And from what I understand, in the UK, they look at those people like gods. So it would be massively embarrassing, I would think, if he got knocked out. And also because he's probably got the underdog as it is. But Danny Aaron's, it's a good point too. Got a massive following. Danny's been talking a little brash too. Like Danny has been, when he was going to fight Viejo, he was talking his stuff. There's a lot on the line here. I miss the stakes in influencer boxing, and this one feels like it brings a little bit of that back.
I want this more than you.
Yeah, but then how do you know that?
Because I want this more than you. If you get knocked out, then what?
Why would that not mean anything?
Because is this long term for you?
But
Are you going to be on Misfits for years and years?
Why not? I've enjoyed every second up to now.
Hey, fair enough. If that's your...
Why not? You haven't fought yet. Of course you've enjoyed all this. This is the easy part.
Now, do you feel like this fight is getting you to the next level in terms of your legacy? As in, like, do you see someone else to fight next?
Legacy. KSI's favorite word, legacy. I don't think Danny Simpson's legacy depends on this fight at all. Danny Aaron's, maybe. I think for Danny Simpson, it's exactly what he said it was. It was a fun thing, which is why, by the way, I think Danny Aaron's, amongst other things, is gonna beat him. He's gonna smoke him.
Yeah, everyone knows who I want after this. I just have to do my job on the night. Obviously, as you said, I'm not looking past you. Of course, it would be stupid to. But if all things go to plan, we already know the next fight.
Who is it? Is it Joe Weller?
You want?
Joe Weller.
Yeah.
Joe Weller.
Joe Weller. I've said this for months. Get through Simpson, go through Joe Weller next.
Anytime his name is said, all I think is, because the way that the UK says his name, Joe Weller. You know who I think of when Joe Weller's name is said? This is some OG deep dive Misfits 1 and 2 shit. You're damn right I'm talking about Joella. My girl Joella Noble. Sheesh.
Well, now he's just said Joe Weller. I'm going to win, so I'm going to take Joe Weller. So
There we go.
upset him even
There
more.
we go. There we go.
That's who you're already thinking about, so I'll take that from you as well.
At the end of the day, I think we can both agree this is fun for us. We're sick in the head. This is fun.
Yeah.
It's entertainment for us as well as it is for them.
I don't know, man. I think one guy might be sick in the head in that room, maybe two, but I don't think that this guy is sick in the head like that. I'm more confident than what Danny's saying because of the time he's taken to train, because of his commitment to the sport, because he's done this for 7 months. He's been actively looking. Guys have pulled out. He could have easily been like, fuck it, okay, I was training. Dude's pulled out. I don't want to do this now. I only wanted to do this for a one-off. I think Danny has actually fallen in love with this. And again, I'll say this. I don't think Danny's mindset is going to be enough to beat guys of a higher level, but it will be enough, in my opinion, to beat this guy. This whole, I like getting hit, I eat that shit up, that's going to work for this. If he keeps going and wants to get better, or he's going to take better opponents, he has to get better as well.
Yeah, like, look, people keep saying, oh, you've walked out in front of 80,000 and Old Trafford, Wembley, etc.
That, to be honest, now granted, this isn't going to mean a lot because it's fighting, not soccer, but he's been in front of big crowds. I didn't even think about that. Danny Simpson has performed in high-pressure moments in front of big crowds. Fair play. That's going to help him.
Well, Danny,
Yes,
Aaron, you called Simpson's mum fat online.
Damn.
How do you feel about that?
No, I didn't mean to, man. No, I didn't. But he's just trying shit.
That's a crazy thing to stir the pot right at the end. By the way, he called your mom a fat whore. But hey, man, you got to try to liven it up, I guess.
I'm very excited for this fight. This is going to be fireworks. Danny Simpson, Danny Aaron's, both in the ring, August 31st in Dublin. It's going to be huge. Live on DAZN, pay-per-view. Be sure to buy it.
There you go. All right, so what do I get from this face-to-face? Nothing really outside of the fact that I feel like Danny Simpson's probably not anywhere close to the level of prepared that he needs to be for any fight, really, let alone a main event fight. I think he's going to get beaten pretty easily if Danny Aaron's, in his 7 months, has gotten any better at the sport of boxing and has any athletic ability whatsoever. I don't think, even as a high-level professional soccer player, that just automatically makes you a good boxer, and especially not with just 4 weeks to train. It is going to be an interesting thing to see who handles, the pressure of the moment better, right? A guy like Danny Simpson's played in front of thousands and thousands of people on the soccer pitch. This is different because it's boxing and doesn't have his team, but he's been in that situation before. Danny Aaron's has never been in that situation, so I am gonna go ahead and make my pick now, even though we'll probably do a prediction video, and just say I think Danny Aaron's is gonna beat him up. I don't know if he's gonna KO him or what, but he's gonna beat him. And then maybe we get the Joe Weller fight. Whatever happens, we'll see. But you guys let me know what you thought of the face-to-face, and are you excited for Misfits 17? Getting a little bit of that old school influencer boxing feel, something big on the line here. Pause. That's what she said. Never mind. And also, who do you think wins in the, I would call it the co-main event because the main event is the KSI concert, the Battle of the Dannies. Who wins and why? Let me know because I don't have those answers, but I guess we'll find out.